All right, here is Transformers Bumblebee Cyberverse Adventures Deluxe Shockwave. Ostensibly the best Shockwave we've gotten in the line. Still kind of a crab tank. I do wish... it's still kind of a crab tank. He is still a crab tank. And honestly, he does some neat stuff. There's some really neat stuff going on here in his upper body transformation for this. I do wish there were a way to collapse his rear legs. I don't know if maybe if this joint could just slide up a little bit, just a little bit more, because it is just, his knees bend, and that's pretty much his lower body. Whereas there is some, despite the fact that it is fairly simple, he's sitting up here on his arms, there's some kind of neat stuff going on here in his upper torso to make this front end happen, and then his legs just bend. He does have the blast effect here that can be removed. You can use this on Siege figures, and just like all the other ones, it is a two-piece thing. You could just use just this blast effect if you wanted to. Although all of them kind of look a little plain if you separate the two parts. So if you want to glue them together, you totally could, because the peg hole still works. Or you can just set them off to the side with all of your other blast effects and leave it like that. He does have a small rifle that attaches to the side, which again you could leave. Much like Bumblebee, you could put this off to the side and he'd still have his characteristic weapon. But if you want to leave this on and give him a rifle in his other hand as well, you can. And this rifle also takes the blast effect, or any of the blast effects from both this line and any Siege blast effects as well. Like here he is with one of Rung's blast effects, if you wanted to use that instead. And a Transformer, we'll go ahead and pop that off. And this whole assembly comes off. Pull the rifle out. And this, so allegedly you have to pull this off. I think that's just to make transformation easier. The video shows, not the video, the manual that comes with them shows this coming off. But I'm pretty sure you can leave that in there if you want. It just makes it a little easier to not have this flopping in the way while you're transforming him. So we'll do it that way. We'll go ahead and pop that off. It is kind of tabbed in here, so you can't really, I mean, you probably could force it out, but you run the risk of snapping this thin piece of plastic that's holding this thing together. So basically, treat this as one piece. And it's a little stiffer plastic, so it can hinder posability in robot mode, depending on how this is bent. If you want it to look a little better in robot mode, you could always hit it with some hot water or the hair dryer trick. Yeah, so we come here, and like I said, his lower legs, you just fold them up and click them into position. The end. Here, though, kind of pull this chest panel out and fold it down and forward like that to form his chest. You can see there's his face, flip up his antenna. These panels right here fold down and sit on his back. I think that's cool, the way those fold around to form kind of the little horns of the tank and then actually transform down here. The arms, rotate them around at the shoulder. Rotate them around at the waist here. And then you just flip this down, open up this panel, flip out his fist, fold the foot into the forearm, and close his arm around it. He does kind of block the back of his fist, but I like that the arms actually transform versus just standing up on his hands. So again, flip the fist out, fold the foot up in, close that, rotate it around. And there, more or less, is his robot mode. This packet's going to snap. It actually does snap in here. There we go, like that. But like I said, that's where this thing sits. You could have transformed it with this hanging around, but if you want to make it a little easier on yourself to not have this flopping around while you're transforming it, you can remove it. Or if you just want to take it off, you can remove this weapon so we can have a normal hand. But otherwise, this comes around, and again, you just plug it into his hand like that, and now he's got, there we go. Now he's got his weapon arm, although again, you can see how depending on how this is, it prevents it from sitting properly. Or it's hard to pose it with this, and you can take care of it, again, by hitting it with some hot water or just a hair dryer to soften it up a little bit. And then you can give him his rifle. He's got a head swivel. He does not have a ball joint. He does have ball joints at the shoulders, which actually give him a pretty decent range of movement even with the shoulder armor. Does have a bicep swivel, a hinge elbow. He does have wrist swivel there, although again the foot blocks it a little bit. Waist swivel, these little panels can get out of the way for posing. And also, I mean, you kind of have to for his wide-legged crab stance. But he's got just dual swivels at the hips, not ball joints like the others. A thigh swivel just above the knee. He does have that knee, which is actually fairly stiff and supportive, which is nice. And he's got front to back and ankle tilt. They all have ankle tilt, which is kind of surprising to me. Especially the way his big feet are hinged here. I would have expected them to just put a post through there and not have it be able to move this way. But they made it so it did, so props to them for doing it. He does not have his little angry eye that I know a lot of people were upset about, the way this little piece comes down and made the eye look angry, but... And like his piece is this leg here for McAdam, which again you saw in Megatron's video, which is nice. It's a ball joint here, ball joint at the knee. But we'll get to McAdam when we have the next 4 figures to combine him completely. Here he is with Megatron. Actually, might be the tallest figure in the wave, just due to where his ears come up. Optimus, and let's move Optimus up to the side a little bit. So we can get him all in line here, because Bumblebee since he's got the titular character now, here he is with Bumblebee. So there's all the Wave 1 together, and like I said, they're colorful, they're nice, they're fun Transformers. The quality could be a little stiffer. They're not the same quality of toy as a lot of the stuff we've been getting in Siege. They're a little hollow, they're a little light, but as toys, they're fun, which ultimately is, I think, the goal of something you're going to try to sell to younger kids. It's not aimed at the collector market like Siege is. And there they are with Spinister. So again, they're all a little smaller than a average Siege Deluxe. But yeah, nice little figures, fun little toy line. And there is Bumblebee Adventure, Transformers Bumblebee Cyberverse Adventures. It's such a mouthful. Cyberverse, Deluxe, Shockwave. And also, just real quick, if you unpeg, that's part of the reason that tube can unpeg from the backpack. If you untwist it, it actually gives you it's a little bit more pleasant to pose and put on the robot. So that's one of the things you can do as well.